last second. So the lead bit hard runner is crowding. So he's once again, just like Baku, he could be one to watch if he can make those hard tyres work in the opening stages. So we could be in for a very interesting race, but that means Turner, Ogwin and Bryant all have to get a move on and get past the Ferrari because the hard tyre, Mercs, it's well documented at this point in the game. It's a very painful tyre to warm up. It will take at least 4 or 5 laps for the drivers to warm up those hard compound tyres. And staying within distance of the medium runners is going to be the main priority for these guys.
100%. Obviously, Luca decided to change in the end. Maybe it was a bit of a bluff, who knows? But we have, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 drivers on the hards. I make it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So 11-9 split in favour of the hard compound tyres. And can Crowding stay with the pack and the rest make any up positions? You'd expect Simba, Turner and Co just in behind will really want to try and get ahead of Crowding off the start.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's got to be their number one priority if they want a chance to get higher up the field here. They can't afford to waste too much time being behind the hard runner because you'll just lose time and you'll just be less likely to form a DRS train. I think for the hard runners, it's the opposite for them. As long as they stay within the DRS train, it's more likely at the end of the race they can make that strategy work and use the mediums really effectively towards the end of the race. But right now, Mercs, it's all about getting through the first corner. And I feel like we could be seeing some fireworks down at turn 1.
Yes, we are now on the grid as they do the last couple of burnouts. And can Jam get ahead of Luca, or Luca stay ahead of the pack as the last few drivers wait for Dream Team at the back to slot into his grid slot. And then we will soon get underway for this race, as it looks like there was a Haas trying to just sneak in there, but give me a nice camera angle game. Doesn't look like they're going to give me one, so we'll go for Jam. As the 5 red lights are about to come out, and we are underway here in Silverstone. It looks like Luca's got an excellent start out front as 2 Ferraris going side by side through turn 1, and the Crowley has got ahead of his teammate, and he's trying to go down the inside here as there's a Mercedes off in the background going very deep indeed. As it looks like Midsy's had a bad start in all this as well, as he's dropped right to the back of the pack. Jam gets back ahead of his teammate. Here comes Turner right in the slipstream. There's a Haas spin off in the background. That is Andres who's gone, and he is now down to the back of the pack. He's spun coming onto the Wellington Straight, and Ham looks like he's going round as well. So I've just missed that. Ham has gone round as well. Yet he's gone round, so he will drop down to 19th. And there are a few frills and spills so far, but it's all safe and sound if you are the Alpine of Luca.
Yeah, Luca absolutely doing what he needed to do there, nailing the start and already building a lead over the rest of the field. He's already got 1.1 seconds on Jam's head already, and that's going to be crucial because he will actually avoid the dreaded DRS as Turner is immediately going after Crowding here. This is exactly what he needs to do for his own Grand Prix here, down inside of the Stowe, and that's exactly what he's done. He moves up into P3, but Crowding is still going to come back at him. This is literally costing time for the Alpine. He goes off at Vale, and Ogwin is just trying to go round outside of Turner, and that's exactly what he's done as well. So Turner is really struggling here, driving out of pure frustration that he couldn't get the move done on Crowding, and he's lost 3 places when he could have been P3. It is massive frustration for Turner.
Now he's right behind Elite Race on the hard compound tyres. He was about to be ahead of all those drivers at the start, but now he's dropped that time with the yellow flag in sector 1, and that is race roll. I think he's just gone off by the looks of it. Yeah, race roller's dropped back. Now he is now down in 18th place. There's two drivers coming to pits, and that is Sem and V2.
Yeah, so unfortunately, some drivers getting caught out there in the first lap, and one of them is Sem, and I said earlier that he was going to get points in this race, and unfortunately that is not looking like it's going to happen here at Silverstone. But it's still a long way to go. A safety car would be ideal for those guys at the back of the field. Race Roller having an absolute nightmare of a weekend. He got knocked out in Q1 and he's only made up one position, and Andres and Snipes in front of him are nowhere near 1 second of SLR Ham. So this is going to be a really, really long race for the former Mckeon champion down in 18th.
Yeah, he's really struggling at the moment. And Jam is trying to get back in DRS range. Stenna picks up first penalty. Dream Team from the back of the grid. Got up to 12th on that opening lap as Turner's spun coming onto the Hamilton straight. And if it wasn't going bad, it has got even worse for the Alpine driver. And he has dropped right to the back of this train of cars, all the way to 17th place.
That is absolutely disastrous, and you know you got to feel for him here, Merckx. You know he was momentarily on pole position. He had the pace over one lap, and I think he's been showing really good pace so far this weekend, and even in practice lobbies as well. But in the real thing, it just seems like he doesn't have the luck going his way as he's trying to re-overtake Andres going into Brooklands, and he just can't make it happen. This is really, really frustrating for Turner, as you know he qualified fourth. He was literally looking at P3. I'm not even joking, literally 2 laps ago. And all of a sudden, he's down in P17. It's quite a fall from grace for the Alpine driver inside the first 3 laps. There is no worse feeling in the world. But SLR Ogwin has mainly kept it clean, and he is going after crowding. And let's see if he can pass the very stubborn Ferrari driver on those hard compound tyres.
Yeah, this is the closest battle on track at the moment. F1 driver just trying to stay in DRS range will be crucial for his race if he can. And those drivers behind, as Corey is just in that gap now where Turner left. But he's up into 7th. A very nice start from last week's race winner. The crowding holding firm at the moment. And so is Luca out front. There's a couple of Ferraris just engaged in battle. As Luca really trying to pull himself away from DRS threat, but seems fairly safe at the moment. Let's have a look back, further back in the pack. Corey seems to be safe from BRT Brian at the moment. He gets close, but not close enough. Does the Mercedes driver? It's difficult. I find it difficult in these types of situations where you want to go for a move potentially, but if you go wrong, then you find yourself under threat of drivers behind you. As I said, that is the yellow flag, and that is the other Mercedes of Snipes, who's had a little bit of a moment through Luffield and has dropped right back to the back of the pack. Paraquix is on the back of his teammate for this race. But ignoring all that, here comes Ogwin round the outside. Crowding goes defensive. And he's saying that he parks his car right there. He's pushing him almost. Wow, surprised they didn't spin out. Crowding goes defensive again. This is really going to hurt their race if they battle for too long. Crowding really wants to hold on to 3rd place, but they're losing more and more time. Jam was caught right up to the back of Luca out front.
Yeah, so we're starting to see a little bit of a spread between the top 3. Literally because I'm not too sure why, Merckx. I'm not sure if you'd do this if you were in the situation, but I'm not too sure why crowding is really like hanging on to P3 for dear life. As Turner spins out again, it's an absolute nightmare for him. But I'm not too sure why he's like, you know, trying to desperately hang on to P3 because, you know, he's not really in their race right now. You know, on lap 5, you know, this is when the hard tyres would normally start to kick in and warm up and might become the better race tyre at this stage of the Grand Prix. As Sam goes round as well as Stowe. That's the first casualty at Stowe, by the way. But, yeah, it's very strange that he's actually choosing to just hang on to P3 for dear life instead of letting these guys go and letting them drag him along. Because now he's 3 seconds behind the next car, and it's going to be very difficult to make up that time because I think he's going to be on the overcut, not the undercut. So it's a very strange decision from Crowding, but he's made it clear to the rest of the field, hey, guys, I'm staying in P3. You might as well not even bother overtaking.
Yeah, he is very stubborn indeed at this current stage. He did have a go on his teammate in the early laps and the opening couple of corners, as it looks like Crowding has made a mistake and Ogween has got past through the Vale chicane, and on the exit of the Vale chicane Ogween has got past just off camera, and Crowding is under pressure now from F1 driver in behind, but his stubborn defence has come and gone, and now Ogween is going to try and set his sights on catching and closing that gap as Turner comes into the pits. It's been a pretty miserable 5 laps so far, and he comes into the pits and retires.
Yeah, so Turner with 5 laps of hell around Silverstone as he retires, and that is a very, very depressing race as we've got action for P10 here for 1 championship point between Jitto and Dream Team. Dream Team with an absolute mega start to this race. He's gained 9 places in the opening 5 laps, and they're going to go side by side in the cockpit.
Surely not. He's going to go down the inside. He's going to go so close. Oh, there's a little bit of contact as Jitto has to go off the track, and he keeps the position. And they got very, very cosy between those 2 drivers, and very respectful racing. Somehow got through cops without crashing, and I think Stenner has gone off in the same place as he did in qualifying, and on the exit of Chapel Stenner has looped it around, unfortunately, as crack comes clear once again. The gap is closing. Ogween has got some good pace in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, Ogween's starting to reel in the top 2, but the top 2 is Luca and Jam. And one thing I want you to notice here, guys, if you're watching a stream, and also to notice as well, is the ERS levels of the cars around, of basically every car, because it pretty much varies across the field depending on how much action they've had across the Grand Prix. So for example, Ogween has had to use quite a lot of ERS trying to overtake Crowding, trying to keep up with other cars. Maybe his car runs a bit slightly higher downforce than those around him, so he's had to use a lot more ERS in order to keep up in a straight line, and he's not got much to work with, and that could basically explain why Crowding is just staying with the Aston Martin, as guys like Driver and Elite Rest just trying to hang on to DRS might have like around 60%.
Jam might have dropped out of DRS here actually. He's gone to 1.1. Has he got any DRS? No. So Luca has managed to drop Jam on this lap, and now Jam's going to have to really try and push back if he wants to fight for that first place. But yeah, Luca has really turned up the wick here, and he is pushing hard as Ham gets past Midzi. Oh, does he? Ham goes wide, but Midzi cannot stay past, and he will want to probably just stick behind Ham. As the yellow flag, I'm not sure. Oh, it's Dream Team. Dream Team is going slow. He's spun. And he's lost time.
That is very unfortunate. He had such a good start to his race. He gained 9 places, and he's just had to give up 3 of them. And I think Jitto might be thinking to himself, karma for pushing me off the track. Cops. So Jitto can carry on with his race, trying to stay within the DRS train that Corey is happily towing along. But Dream Team, massive disappointment for him. A great start to this race, despite being on the hard tyre. And unfortunately, he's got to do it all over again in P14.
Yeah, drop down. Really, really good start, like you said. And Barry Quicks, once again, is really close to the back of Brian. And he seems to be able to follow very well. Elite Risk is struggling to stay in DRS range at the moment. As well, he's just dropping off the back. But yeah, just a few trains forming. Jam is really pushing to get back in DRS range, and it looks like he has done that. But he's just teetering on the edge at the moment Luca seems comfortable. Mitzi has got back ahead of Ham, and they've just swapped positions once again.
Yeah, so Midzi trying to make sure he's making some sort of progress in this race. It's not been a great weekend for the reigning champion, as he's down in 11th place. He had a bad start to the race as well on those hard tyres, and he's desperately trying to make up any sort of time possible. He's 3 seconds off Jitto and Paraquix, guys who are on the same strategy as the defending champion. But I want to raise your attention to Brian here. He's just been sat behind Corey on the medium tyres, and he's got 80% ERS.
Yeah, he has got a lot of ERS. You see on his dash there. Yeah, that's interesting that he's... Well, they're not really making an indent while they're losing time. The guys ahead, as their crowding starts to get closer. So, yeah, I mean, maybe it's about time that BRT Brian decided to, you know... Oh, it's a F1 driver goes off the track, and that is a final warning for a 3-second time penalty. And it looks like he has lost out in the DRS. So maybe Elite can start to close in, as crowding is closing in on Ogween. Jam is closing in on Luca. So it is the attack of the prancing horses at the moment. They're the ones putting the drivers ahead of him under pressure. Here comes Elite. This is close. But not close enough.
Yeah, Risk's really knocking on the door here. He knows he's got to make this move happen on driver. He probably feels like he's the quicker driver right now at this stage of the race. The hard tyre will definitely start to becoming the better race tyre, so this is the time to push for the guys on the hard tyre, crowding the lead runner on the hard tyres. And surely he might be thinking of getting past Ogween for P3. Ogween not really making a dent into the lead of the top two, as Dream Team gets a time penalty for track limits. And I'm not too sure what driver was doing there. He just suddenly moved to the left hand side of the Wellington straight, probably to break the slipstream, but I'm not too sure why he did that, because he was already quite clear. No, he's gone really slow there, and Elite will say thank you very much, I'll take that position. And Elite Risks finds himself into the top 5. A very bizarre moment there for the McLaren.
I just missed it on the stream, but yeah, we'll see. So, yeah, Elite's got through, but that's lost both of them time, and they're out of contention at the moment for what was the battle for third place. They're all on the hard tyres behind Ogween. Stenner picks up another 3-second time penalty, and BRT Brian, who needs to use that ERS as F1 driver gets close, and he goes a little bit wide on the back of Elite as Ogween comes into the pits.
So here we go. Undercut time for the medium runners. Ogween the first to pull the trigger, and it's going to be a set of hard tyres towards the end of the race. I'm seeing Mercedes preparing a new front wing for Brian, and that is a new front wing and a set of tyres. That's going to hurt him badly towards the end of this race. But Mercs, it's game on. It's time to nail the strategy down, because this is where the race is going to be won and lost because of these DRS trains. So Ogween is going to have the outlap of his life if he wants to gain any sort of time on the top two. It's game on here in Silverstone.
Yellow flag, and Dream Team has spun round once again. Hopefully it doesn't get in Ogween's way. But yeah, Ogween coming out, like you say, have to have a really good outlap on these hard tyres, and yeah, it seems to be safe distance away. But he does have this battle that involves Race Roller, Snipes, Stenner. They're all going round. Sem comes into the pits. F1 drivers left the session, so that's not good. We'll get him back in hopefully, but that'll force. Who's coming into the pits? Out of the top two, it is Luca comes into the pit lane. Let's see how Luca does in comparison. Ogween seems to be going okay. Let's have a look how he does through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Where is Luca going to come out? Maybe he'll come out ahead of that pack where Race Roller is, depending on who comes into the pits. But it's only Luca who's come into the pits out of the front runners. He's coming down the pit lane now. Ogween is coming through the Vale chicane. And he's comfortably clear. Now it's all about tyre warm-up. It's a bit squirrely on the exit there. But now Jam, who is in the lead, and it's a 1-2 for the Ferrari at the moment. And I don't want to tempt fate, but a safety car right now would be absolutely lovely for those yet to stop.
Yeah, it absolutely would. The safety car would definitely be a game changer in this race. It would definitely benefit Jam as well, since he is the only medium runner yet to stop who is leading the race. Andres and Ham also yet to stop, as Corey right behind driver. I did send driver an invite, and he has yet to get back in, and that's going to hurt him really badly, as Corey just breezes past the ghosted McLaren, and he's up into P4. I'm going to see if I can get driver back in.
Hopefully get him back in, but yeah, obviously you can only send him so many invites to try and get him back in. Jam comes into the pits, and now it's all important to see where Luca is in comparison. Gap to leader, let's have a look. And the gap is about 4 and a bit seconds, so Luca has definitely gained a bit of time here on Ogween from behind. But the all-important battle is between him and Jam, as Jam is coming out of the pit lane now. As we'll see, come through turn 1. There's Jam on the right-hand side. Now the tyre warm-up is really important for the Ferrari man. His tyres will be nice and warm on the Alpine. He's going to try and go around the outside. Can Jam defend? Goes for the switchback. Looks like he's got a nose up the inside. He does. And Luca does take the lead, well, the net lead of the race back, and he does have DRS, and that is a crucial move for this race. Jam tried the overcut, and the overcut in the end just wasn't enough, and now he needs to try and stay in DRS range, but he almost put himself ahead of the Alpine driver.
Yeah, it almost worked out for Jam, but now unfortunately the hardest thing he's got to do now is, just stay within DRS, and Ogween, he tried the undercut, and that has not worked out for the championship leader, and you can see the gap between Jam and Luca. Luca just driving away from the Ferrari here, and I don't think he's going to get DRS, and that's another crucial moment in this race. And no, he hasn't. He has not got DRS. He's missed out by a few tenths of a second, and that is going to annoy Jam a lot, as he tried the overcut, and it's not worked out. And like I said earlier, the undercut will be a popular choice of strategy, and Luca has utilised the undercut to perfection, as driver finally joins the lobby. He joins back in, but he's going to be annoyed because he's lost quite a few positions. But Luca in a net P1.
He is at the moment, and a safety car is not your friend if you have just pitted onto the hard compound tyres. As crowding, I would say, is in a very good position still on those hards, because the medium tyre warm-up will be better. But obviously he's the lead hard runner, so can can he put himself in amongst it. He just dropped off the back of the pack. Same with Ogween. Ogween's struggling. Well, he's not even catching up to the back of Dream Team that quickly. So it's fairly good effort at the moment from Luca and Jam to show the pace that they have. And Ogween at the moment just dropping off the back, and he might come under pressure from drivers behind. When will they pit onto the mediums? The answer is now, because crowding has just come into the pit lane, as several drivers are coming into the pit lane. So they've kind of just waited, and they've decided, you know what, we're all going at the same time. F1 driver speeds into the pit lane. That is not very good at all. Let's see if I can change onto Luca. And he's right behind FGE Stenner at the moment. Where is crowding going to come out? He's coming down the pit lane now. Is he going to get out ahead of Ogween is the question. He's coming out. Here we go. It's going to be close. Ogween's going to appear on our left-hand side very soon. He cuts across Ogween, and he is ahead for now. But it's kind of a repeat of Jam and Luca, but the other way around is on the mediums. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. Oh, as Crowding almost loses the car as well. They're battling so hard like they did early on in the race. Ogween's onto the grass. There's a bit of squeezing going on down the straight. Ogween's going to try and go right round the outside, but he's not going to make that stick. And Crowding's getting his elbows out once again. And now he's going to try and close the gap, but it is a big gap to the back of Jam and Luca.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But again, Crowding's stubbornness to keep ahead of any car that's behind him. It's actually worked out for him on this occasion, despite having colder tyres. But you know Ogween's going to try again. As meanwhile, the race leader for now, Elite Risks, hits for medium tyres. And where is he going to come out? Since these guys are fighting each other. He's 27 seconds ahead of this pair. So I think it might be quite close between those guys as Andres gets a penalty for track limits. Ham becomes the new race leader, yet to stop. But yeah, Ogween's got to be really annoyed because he literally had two wheels on the grass there going onto the Wellington straight. And again, Crowding not playing nice at all with any sort of space on the track. So this is going to be an all-out fight for P3 as Elite Risk comes out of the pits now. And he's going to comfortably be ahead of Corey. So Elite Risk, if these two keep fighting each other, if Ogween and Crowding keep fighting each other, Elite Risk can find themselves fighting for a podium.
I'm just going to free pin here. Stenner is actually defending quite hard in the back of Luca. Luca's going to try and go right round the outside, and he does. Very nice move indeed. Puts a car in between him and Jam, but Jam is closing right up to Luca now. And, well, Stenner put up a defence. Wasn't really his race, but yeah, he's trying to go as fast as he possibly can, and is right on the back of Luca still. Jam will really want to get past as fast as he can. The gap is 5 seconds between Crowding and Jam. Stenner picks up another 3-second time penalty. And yeah, you can tell he just does not have the grip that Luca does, but there is a car in between, and Jam will, well, be frustrated if Stenner doesn't come into the pit lane. Ham comes into the pits, finally, and Stenner does come into the pit lane. But that has definitely brought Jam right back into play. And Crowding will hopefully, well, you want to hope that these two fight a little bit so that they can catch up, but it seems like he's in a battle for the podium with Ogween as he sets the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, so Crowding putting those mediums to good work, but yeah, Jam really in this race now. It looked like it seems like he lost a chance to be right behind the Alpine when he failed that overcut attempt, as I think Midzi has had enough at the final corner.
Yes, he has.
This is for position. He's 13th now, and he's nowhere near the point. Ham has come out on soft tyres. F1 driver's got back into the lobby, and he's overtaken Ham. So driver is P9, Brian's down in P11, and he's got to pass these guys on older hard tyres. So this is going to be a real task for the Mercedes driver. But yeah, this is not going well for Brian. His debut in Mckeon is proving to be a tough one.
Sem has gone off and has now been lapped. So yeah, your prediction for points is a real commentator's curse. But we did say it's bold, so maybe there we go. It just hasn't really got to grips, and I mean the race control have decided to give him a 10-second time penalty for exceeding track limits for good measure. And I'm just seeing that Jitto is quite close to Paraquicks. Is they going to have a little battle into chicane? No, Crowding sets another fastest lap, closes the gap down to 4.4 seconds, and he's bringing Ogween along with him. The gap is still under a second out front. And behind this, F1 driver is kind of holding up Ham, you'd say, around this lap. As Ham is trying to get his tyres up to temperature as quick as possible. And he's trying to set up a move down into Brooklands as the DRS, but is it going to be enough? It's going to go down the inside. And there is a nice move for the Red Bull driver, and he is up into P9.
Yeah, very nice move there from Ham. Very easy on those soft tyres. He's got a massive tyre advantage compared to the guys around him, and he's going to go chasing after Jitto, who is still trying to pass Paraquix for P7. So Ham looking to make those tyres work. And the question is, how are his tyres going to feel at the end of the race? Because those tyres will definitely go off a lot quicker than everybody else. So he's got to get the hammer down. He set a purple middle sector, and he is going right after the two cars out in front. Meanwhile, Jam still trying to hang on to DRX from BRC Luca. But yeah, Ham is on the move on those soft tyres.
Yeah, he seems to be going rapid. And there definitely seems to be opportunities for Ham, especially ahead of him with Paraquix and Jitto, as long as he can keep those tyres in check. There's a battle in behind, which involves Raceroller, who's still down in 16th place, and he has really struggled. There's Luca still ahead, made a little bit of a mistake on the exit of Luffield, and we'll keep Jam interested. Crowding us almost broke DRS from Ogween, as Ogween's trying to keep up with the relentless pace of the other Ferrari driver. And the gap is under 4 seconds to Jam at the moment. And if these two would get involved into a battle, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen, because Jam hasn't really got that close for most parts of this race. The gap is just over 0.6 of a second. As Luca goes a little bit wide through the Vale chicane, and as I was saying that, it wasn't really that close. He's just gone and made a mistake, and Jam is right up the back of him, and now he looked really interested as the other AlphaTauri of Dream Team is now spun at Chapel. Jam is going to try and set up a move here on Luca. He's been the race leader for, well, most of this race, and now Jam is going to try and have a go. Luca's not really defending, as I think he knows his fate, and down the inside he goes. There's going to be a simple move for the Ferrari driver. Jam turns P2 into P1, and for now he leads this race on lap 20, and there is not long to go now, and we might be in for a titanic tussle for first place.
Yeah, we could be in for one hell of a finish here, but Jam takes the lead. It took a while for him to do it. I think it might have taken him a little bit longer than he would have wanted, but the main thing is he's got the job done on lap 20 with just over 6 laps to go in his British Grand Prix. Jam takes the lead of the race, and if he can hang on, he's on for win number 3 in this Mckeon season, in his return to the Mckeon division. But Luca is not going down without a fight. The debutant in the Alpine has been leading the majority of this race, but the last lap is the lap that really counts, Mark. So we'll see who crossed the line on lap 26 as the race winner. But these two are in a class of their own, but it's not over yet.
It is not over at all. And Luca, as you can see, is right on the back of the Ferrari driver. And yeah, just had a few moments on the lap before, and yeah, that just allowed Jam to creep up in behind. And now it's going to be all about who has the ERS. I'll just have a quick look. 41, 49, fairly similar for those two, so it is all to play for. As Luca has lost the car and almost gone round, and that is going to be crucial for the rest of this race. Luca has just dropped the car, gone into a half spin, and he has lost all that time. He lost the lead on the last lap. Now he's lost the DRS, and that's going to bring crowding and Ogween right into play if they can now close the gap. Those hard tyres of Luca have been really worked hard, and it seems like the rear tyres are just starting to go, and again through Chapel. He's really struggling on the tyres, and he's just got to try and calm it down and go again. But it is A little bit of trouble here for the Alpine driver. As I say, he was on pole. He's been in the lead for so long. His lead has gone away, and now he seems to be out of sorts and just struggling for general grip at the moment. And he's dropped out of DRS. Can he try and get back in? But Simba, this is big moments in this race for the Alpine driver.
Yeah, that is a huge moment in the context of this race. I think that might just be a few little bits of frustration kicking in for the Alpine. Yeah, oh, that's another one. That's another moment he's had through a corner. And yeah, he's definitely driving with some sort of desperation, frustration, whatever you want to call it. But it's just dropping time to jam. And like you said earlier, those tyres have been worked hard since he put the tyres on. Again, another little moment there through Brooklyn to through Luffield. He gets it on the traction this time round, but he's just lost 1.5 seconds just from those two mistakes alone, and that could be the race. It's not over yet, of course, but right now it's definitely leaning towards the Ferrari driver, and if he's not careful, Crowding and Ogween are hot on his heels for P2, so this is going to be one hell of a race. And speaking of one hell of a race, Ogween has just managed to creep back into DRS range of the Ferrari. So Crowding is on the mediums, he's on the quicker tyre, but I think they might start to be going off at the closing stages of this race.
BRC Luca is really giving those rear tyres some work at the moment. He's just, well, I think he's just maybe a tad frustrated, tad desperate, like you said before. He's just trying to put on the power as early as possible. But yeah, he's just trying his best to get back in this race as Sem lets all the leaders go through. There's looks like Stenner and Race Roller are fighting as well. In the background, they are. In the backside of the track, they are going side by side through the final corner. Race Roller managed to get around the outside and takes 15th for now. But yeah, gap under 2 seconds now for Crowding. He's going to try his best to close in the gap. But the checkered flag might come to Luca's favour, as it seems like he may not get the win that he was looking like he was going to. Still got just over 3 laps to go for him to change that.
Yeah, so he's definitely got a limited amount of time on his side here. Like you say, just under 3 laps to go, including this one. But yeah, I think the closest fight we're going to have right now is probably between Ogween and Crowding. I think they've got some unfinished business for P3 in this race. Ogween has tried to overtake the Ferrari twice, and on both occasions, Crowding has not let him go at all. As we start lap 24, Ogween 8/10 behind the Ferrari, as the gap out in front is 1.6 seconds. Jam has that breathing space that he's been craving since the start of this race, and the lead has been craving for as well, so he is definitely looking pretty good out in front, as Stenner and Roller are still fighting each other for P15.
This is the best battle for P15 you'll ever see, I think. Still, oh, as I say that, Stenner goes round and he's in the gravel trap at the final corner, and that battle is over. Hasn't been the greatest race, you have to say, for Stenner. He's tried a lot, but in the end it hasn't come in his favour, as while all this is going on, Jitto is actually ahead of Para now. Ham is under 2 seconds from the back of those two for Battle P7. F1 driver, oh, he's not going to really get involved in that battle with the time penalty unless all 3 of them ahead of him just bin it or something happens like that. But yeah, it's just going to be resigned to P10 at the moment for the McLaren driver. And Ogween is right on the back of Crowding. As I say, there here comes F1 driver. Down the inside he goes. Those soft tyres are definitely starting to wear off on the Red Bull. Sem sets the last lap on the Grand Prix, down in 18th place, and the red lights are flashing on the back of both the Ferrari and the Aston Martin in this fight for the final podium place. The gap is now 1.6 seconds. He is trying as Crowding to close that gap. He has tried for so long. And can he get an extra position? A 1-2 for Ferrari's race roller leaves the session to add to his woes in this race. It has not been great as they both actually come into the pit lane to race roller and Senna. But gap is just creeping out again, so it might just be a battle for third place. So close to being a double podium for the Scuderia, but I think Ogween has something to say about it as they continue to lock horns in this race. These two have had it a few battles so far in this race, and now they're going to come to fruition once again as Ogween in the slipstream in the DRS is going to inside or outside. He doesn't, he stays behind for now, and Crowding just had enough track to stay ahead, and it seems like they're going to settle for a battle for P3 unless anything happens on the final lap. There's the yellow flag secretary, but I think that's Sem. You know, the way his F1 driver picks up another 3-second time penalty, so that might push him outside of the points. We're on to the final lap now, and it seems like Simba Jam has got it under control. There's Andres. Is there Simba? Simba is not there currently, so that's what it says. Andres retires, and Mitzi gets ahead. Oh, hello.
Hello. I'm back. My controller died. That's essentially what's happened. So I don't know what's happened, but we're back.
There you go. So it seems like Jam has got this one under control. As he is comfortably clearing the DRS from Luca. As Andres retires in the pit lane. And V2's coming into pits as well. As it seems like Jam coming through Stowe. Is Ogween going to have the run on the final lap? He is going to try, but it won't. As we look to the other Ferrari, he took his time, he bided his time, fought hard for the DRS, he got the DRS, he got past, and he's going to come through, take his third win of the season. Jam wins the British Grand Prix. His home victory for SLR Jam. BRT Luca will have to settle for second place. Crowding makes it a double podium for Ferrari in third. Ogween comes home in fourth. And Elite Chris will be fifth. Corey will come home in sixth in the end and recovers 6 places. Jitto finishes 7th ahead of Paraquix as they had a long battle in that second stint. Ham will finish in 9th. Mitzi takes a World Championship point in 10th in the end. F1 driver drops out of the points positions in 11th with a few penalties to his name. The 2 Mercedes of Snipes and BRT Brian, who comes into the pits on the final lap with no front wing, finishes 13th place. Race roller who had a difficult race and then got booted out from the session for good measure, will come home in 14th ahead of FGE Stenner, who will finish 15th with the fastest lap to his name. So I guess that's something happy he can go away from this race about. And then V2 will be the last across the line, as Sem has already crossed the line with the checkered flag. But it is Jam who takes the race here in Silverstone.
Yeah, Jam with a fantastic performance here today. Absolutely.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I'm trying to get the rest of the top 3 in.
Yeah, you just need you got Jam and Crowding. 2 Ferraris, we'll get them in. Should be all good. But yeah, here's the or unofficial results, we have to say, until Stew's inquiry come in. But we have to say it will definitely be Jam's victory in the end. A very intensely fought race, and in the end, Jam came out on top. And here are the rest of the positions, and obviously we have 2 DNFs in the end, or 3 DNFs in the end. Andres did come into the pits to retire, but classified 2 laps down. He won't get any points anyway. Dream Team and W Turner were the other 2 drivers to DNF. As we wait for Jam to make his way in to the party. Paraquick says, did we count the amount of spins, including the formation lap? No, I didn't count the amount of spins, but I'm sure you can go back and watch the stream and see how many people had spun. We got all the drivers in the party. So, Simba, if you want to take us away with third place man crowding.
Yeah, of course. Right, so we're going to start off with the man who finished P3, and that is Crowding. Crowding, congratulations, P3 on the day. You were pretty robust in your defense against some other drivers today. Ogwin was the main person you were fighting with, so talk us through your race.
I can't really say much. I'm ill, so it doesn't help the case. But yeah, well, besides Anna not wanting to wait a bit and pass me easily on a straight rather than into a corner. But other than that, no, it was just trying to not to spin. Realistically, I'm awful at this track for spinning, so it doesn't help my case that obviously it's so prone to it. But yeah, my main focus was try not to spin, and just see what I can do. But yeah, I'll go in, put up a good fight. I realistically couldn't have done too much more. Well, it would have been better first if I stayed in the DRS of the first 2, but again, I can't always have it. Then I just followed Ogwin round until he pitted, and then had to try and burn my battery just to get out ahead of him. Because he was would have been on the hard, so if I got caught behind him, I would have been screwed. But as soon as I came out ahead, I had to be very aggressive. Probably quite questionable, realistically. But yeah, as soon as I stayed ahead and tried pulling a second, but he just used to every time on the detection point, he was about a 10th in size, so I basically just dragged him along for the rest of the race. But yeah, just happy to get P3.
Well, you said you were dragging him along, but you managed to get P3. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is your first podium of the season. If
You're wrong.
I am not wrong.
You're wrong.
I'm doing all this. But yeah, it's another podium for you. Sorry about that. Do you think there'll be more podiums to come in the future? Of course, we're coming towards the end of the first half of the season, and the next race is Austria. So, do you think you'll be fighting for the podium there again?
Austria, probably not. Like I tend to suck in quali. Somehow managed to pull out a personal best in the session. So, but no, Austria. I mean, more than likely, if it goes how Austria should be, which is just one long DRS train, no. But if incidents happen, etc., then possibly. But more than likely, it's going to be a no.
Well, cheers, Crowding. We're going to hand it over to Merckx with P2.
So, Luca finishing second place in this race. Obviously, you led for so long, but yeah, in the end, the tyres seemed to just struggle for grip towards the end of that race. How did that feel in the end for you?
Well, it was a great race. I mean, I got Paul in quali and was leading the way with Jam right behind me, and he was just putting so much pressure on me, man. And unfortunately, I let him by. Well, first of all, Stenner, he blocked me quite a lot, and it managed, it helped Jam to keep inside my DRS, so that was a bit unfortunate because that could have decided the race, but he was absolutely rapid, and I let him by, and was like, I'm just going to save my ERS, but unfortunately, didn't really work out. I made a few mistakes behind him with 30, and he just disappeared. And he had so much CRS as well. I just knew it, and he was just so consistent. I mean, he deserved it. It was a great race. It was lots of fun, and my first race of the season as well. So hopefully more to come. But yeah, it was very very fun. And GG's to Jam and P3. Can't remember who it was. Pardon.
Yeah. So well done on your debut there. That's a really good showing, and hope to
Thank
see
you very much, man.
hope to see you a lot more in the future. And we hand back over to Simba for our race winner, SLR Jam.
Well, cheers, Max. Jam, congratulations. You've won the British Grand Prix home race, your third of the season. So talk us through your race. How does it feel to be back on the top step?
Yeah, it feels great to be honest. I can't say I was expecting it. Practice. I didn't do really any practice. Did just a quick quali session before with Harry, and I was I wasn't looking too good for that. But no, I kind of surprised myself with how quick I was in quali, getting P2. Obviously, I mean, quali's never been my strong point at all. So yeah, I thought I had pole, and then got snatched away from me at the last second. I was a bit disappointed with that, but it's still very happy to get P2. And then I mean, pretty much what Lucas said, to be honest, he kept me more than honest throughout the whole race. But I kind of just bided my time behind him. I was quite happy with P2. It felt like I just wouldn't be able to get past him on the straight. I never quite got close enough to make a move for a majority of the race. And then he made a little mistake, I think, out of the final corner, and that gave me the chance to close up and got the move done. And then I felt quite confident after that I'd be able to stay ahead, because I'd spent 20 odd laps behind him, and I couldn't seem to get near. And then obviously, as he said, he made a couple of mistakes, and after that just kept it straight and brought him the win. So yeah, very happy with that third win of the season, closing the gap, which is what I was aiming to do. And yeah, congratulations to Luca on his debut. Fantastic performance from him, and obviously crowding my teammate. Great result for the team, 40 points, close the gap to Aston Martin, and obviously that's a big total for our joint constructors push. So yeah, very happy on the whole with my race.
Well, it's your third win, like you said, and your first since the Spanish Grand Prix. We're coming towards the end of the first half of the season, and it's Austria with a sprint weekend. Do you think you can make it win number 4, or is that too ambitious for the time being?
Well, I'd definitely like to think so. I think on the whole, though, I've kind of surprised myself with how well my first half of the season's gone. But no, I'd like to think I can keep this momentum up. Obviously, Austria is going to be really close, as it always is. I think the sprint will make things a bit more interesting. Obviously, I didn't have the best of sprint rounds last time out at Imola, so I'll be looking to make amends for that. And obviously the win's always the aim, but I think just getting the points I need to close the gap and make up the difference in the championship. That's my aim week in, week out, really.
Cheers, Jam. Congrats on the win. And I'm going to
mate.
hand back to Mercs because he's streaming this race and it wouldn't make sense for me to do the outro. So, Mercs, over to you, mate.
Yeah, so that will be that for our Mckeon action. Once again, it was a double podium for Ferrari, and the Jam with his third race win of the season, fighting back in the championship once again. And we'll have one more race at Silverstone, and that'll be Division 1. And hopefully that'll be an entertaining race. Hopefully it gets streamed, of course. We'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, that's our last race at 7 p.m. tomorrow night. But that'll be all from me and Simba. Hope you have a good rest of your night, and we will see you soon.